Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight. On my right, Adam Markham. Addy, how are you, hon?
Doing very well, Josh.
I was going to say, you just had a nice little end to this Raiders-Lions game. It was a very good week for you on the old DraftKings app, I believe.
Yeah, we needed Robert Spillane 7.5, and I think he so 2 minutes to go in the game. So yeah, I had to sweat it here at the end, but yeah, it was a really good week for me on the IDP bet front.
Yeah, that's why they call it get you a good sweat, right? You kind of sweating out into the game when maybe most casual fans are checked out. It's like, why is Adam just like sweating profusely glued to the television right now?
Yeah, they're good with these lines. I mean, it usually does come down to the very end, you know. There are those nice cases where like someone gets it before halftime, but for the most part, like you got to sweat all these things out. But
yes.
It makes you come back for more, Josh.
That's right.
Really makes you addicted to it.
That's right. It's almost like gambling is a little bit addictive.
Yeah, you guys should try it.
Yeah. Hey, we got an IDP Bets episode coming up here soon.
Yeah,
so
maybe this week.
Yeah, that's true. We have episode 2 of IDP Bets coming down the pipe here very soon, so look forward to that on the YouTubes. We just had episode 3 of the IDP Trade Show. Jace Abbey hosted that one last week. Y'all were a dynamic duo. I was tuning in from Keeneland Racetrack at Lexington, popping in to listen to y'all's evaluation of the trades while I could.
He's a class act.
He really is.
Really, really good contrast with this just gentleman. This proper Brit,
proper English gentleman, and then you've got Southern redneck hillbilly.
Sure, yeah, just saying all the dumb stuff.
The dumb stuff.
Yeah, so we made a good team. But Jace he's a legend, dude. He's been crushing it this year, and we are happy to have his ranks over at the IDPshow.com.
That's right. And if you want to check out Jace's ranks, but you're not a paid supporter, well, good news. This week only, we are running a free preview. All of our paid content is out from behind the paywall for this week. So the waiver article, the Q&A thread, Jace's rankings, everything will be free to view for all subscribers. So check it out. If you like what you see, consider becoming a paid supporter. Addy, we've got the fantasy playoffs coming up. So if you need a good resource, whether it's some good waiver wire targets, or you need the rankings to help break ties in your lineups, or maybe you just want to get on there and ask us some lineup questions if you're really struggling, we'll answer your questions live on the preview podcast. We're going to try to help you out, help you win some titles. That's what this is all about, Addy.
Yeah, we just want to help you win.
That's it.
That's all we care about.
Entertain you, make you laugh, but also help you win.
Yeah.
So tonight we're going to do some of that as well. This is the Week 8 recap. We're going to go through every game. We've got 16 games to go through. We're going to do a mix of top scores and storylines.
Did you see that, Josh?
What was that? Was it jersey?
Max Crosby and Aiden Hutchinson exchanging jerseys.
Look at that mentoring happening right there.
Love to see it.
We talked about how important that was last week, these young men finding a mentor.
That's right.
So someone reminded me that Max Crosby's like early NFL photo looked like the basketball player from Bedazzled.
Yeah.
Remember that Brendan Fraser movie?
Yeah, man. He's did not think he was going to turn into what he is, no doubt, based on that pick for sure.
All the sweat during the interview just raining down on the interviewer's face in that movie. Great scene. Just go YouTube the Bedazzled basketball scene. It's just truly a remarkable piece of cinema. But we are going to get to Raiders, Lions at the end of the show. Let's rewind the clock, though, and start back with the Thursday night game. Oh, before we do, though, Chasing Greatness, we got an update. We had another 40-point score. Put it on the board. Kayvon Thibodeaux, New York Giants against the New York Jets, allowing their second 40-point scorer this season. Kayvon went for 47.85 points on 97% of snaps. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but he joins the ranks. And the pace has slowed here a little bit, actually, Addy. We didn't have one in week 6. We just had one in week 5, one in week 7, and one in week 8. And the only player who has done it twice this season, Myles Garrett. So a lot of these edge rushers heating up, Addy. We're going to talk about it. But if you drafted DL early in these best ball drafts, you are feeling pretty good right about now.
Yeah, we definitely did.
We definitely did. That was the strategy. So let's go to Thursday Night Football. Bills get the 24-18 win over the Buccaneers. Headline from this game, Levante David is the only true set-and-forget option you have confidence in with the Bucs. Winfield is great, but like all safeties, he is subject to positional volatility. Your top three from this game, Anthony Nelson, 19 points, Jamel Dean, 18 points, and there's Levante David, 16.5 in Week 8, 16.53 average the last 5 games, 14 tackles, a TFL on 100% of snaps. Let's just take a moment, Addy, to admire the greatness that is Levante David here in 2023.
Yeah, he's linebacker 10 right now in points per game and in tackles per game. Meanwhile, Devin White, LB 52 in points per game, just 10 points per game this year, and he is linebacker 43 in tackles per game. So,
don't know how that happened. I mean, he just completely turned back into a pumpkin.
He's been really bad.
It's like,
this has been the worst stretch of his career, it seems.
Yeah, it's like I expected that maybe there would be some variance there. You know, he's never been the best player, but to fall off to this extent, I did not see this coming with Devin White. So let's move to the Bills side of things. Headline from this one, trusting a Bills edge rusher is like being blind and attempting to put your chips on 00 in roulette. You know the upside exists, but you just can't see it. The edge rushers for the Bills in Week 8, A.J. Epinesa, 12.6 points. Gregory Rousseau, 7.25 points. Leonard Floyd, 4.5 points. So these edge rushers, Addy, are very frustrating for IDP. All of them have moments. I mean, A.J. Epinesa has had some big blow-up games. Gregory Rousseau, I know you're a fan of. Leonard Floyd has been really solid this season, but now Von Miller getting worked back into the mix. I feel like moving forward, this is just going to be a frustrating group.
Yeah, I like all those guys, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it's just I think it's just matchup dependent, you know, when you can play these guys. It's got to be a good matchup. Otherwise, it's who knows, you know?
Yeah.
You just have no idea. The linebacker situation was interesting again this week. Dorian Williams was benched. I don't think he played at all. So it was Tyrell Dodson is that LB2 there.
Could be Dorian again next week, though, for all we know. This situation, I think, is going to remain fluid the rest of the season.
Teron Johnson has been really good for cornerback required leagues. Again, he's always been someone that's really good. But
won you the freaking fantasy NFL playoff fantasy league we had, I think, last year.
He's been good for a while now, but he's been kind of back to his old self again. Jordan Poyer's been looking good as of late. He had another nice game. So yeah. Who was it? What was the other side? Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Kalijah Kancey has been getting some more
run.
Love
to see that.
So he's been okay, I think, from a pressure standpoint and everything, but maybe he can finish the year strong.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Terrell Bernard was the top scorer for the Bills, 17 points. Teron Johnson, there he is, 16.6 points, was the second leading scorer, 11.35 points per game the last 5 games, 100% of snaps. And then Jordan Poyer, 15.5 points, 16.53 points per game average the last 5 games, 100% of snaps. Jordan Poyer is heating up. But let's move to Sunday, Addy, and start with Eagles getting the 38-31 dub over the Commanders. Headline from this one, Blankenship returns to the lineup and returns on investment, even with Kevin Byard's acquisition. Top 3 scorers. There's Reed Blankenship at number 1, 21.2 points in Week 8, 16.55 points per game average the last 5 games. He played 100% of snaps. Byard also played 100% of snaps. I believe that's how we broke it down, that we thought Byard and Blankenship would be the 2 safeties getting 100% of snaps. Nakobe Dean was number 2, 20.5 points. He had 12 tackles and 2 TFLs on just 69% of snaps, though. Was not the leading snap getter at the linebacker position. I believe that was Zach Cunningham once again. Hassan Reddick has been balling here recently, folks. 17.65 points, 3 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a forced fumble, and 2 QB hits. 16.31 points per game average the last 5 games on 82% of snaps for Hassan Reddick in Week 8. What's the headline for you from the Eagles side of things, Addy?
Well, Jalen Carter got banged up, and he hasn't really been himself the last few weeks. So I think he's had an injury that's been lingering and bothering him a little bit.
It was a bummer. I fired him up in the flex spot. I've got him and Javon Hargrave, so kind of hard to sit down Javon Hargrave. But I was like, I got to put Jalen Carter in the flex. He's playing Sack Howell. Should be good for, multiple sacks, but yeah, injuries.
Both of them had real bad games.
Yes, exactly. So not great on that front.
Sidney Brown actually played a decent amount. I'm guessing he maybe played in the slot.
Yeah, I think so.
Or they're running three safeties out there, similar to what Dallas does. But yeah, I'd assume he's probably playing slot. And then Reed Blankenship, like we mentioned at the top, dude, he has been crushing it this year.
He really has.
He really has. I think he has like 4 games over 20 points in Big 3 scoring, which is, I think that might be top among safeties. I'm pretty sure he's top 5 in points per game right now among safeties. He's playing usage that it really isn't ideal for IDP, but he's still getting it done. Also, looking back at his college stats, the dude went over 400 tackles.
Whoa.
I think the last episode I said it was 300. It was over 400.
You shorted
tackles.
him 100 tackles.
Dude was a very good tackler in college. So, I mean, yeah, I think that that just may be him.
He may be a breakout star at the DB position.
I think so. They got a really good safety room now.
They do.
All of a
With
sudden.
Kevin Byard coming in. Yeah, I looked it up. So Macri had the breakdown for us. Sidney Brown, 56% of snaps, 80% in the slot. So that it's nice to see. I was waiting for that Sidney Brown kind of emergence, and I thought, oh, man, with Kevin Byard coming in, Sidney Brown's going to be the one sent to the bench, but it looks like they may have a role for this guy.
Who knows? I know they're dealing with some injuries too. Avonte Maddox may be banged up, so that could be why he's getting a shot there. I don't know how that's going to shake out once everyone's healthy and whatnot. But yeah, for now it's nice to get a look at him for sure.
Yeah. Commander side of things, Cam Curl continues to reward his preseason believers. Shout out Jake Colhagen with another strong performance. And Montez Sweat is currently having his best IDP year ever, on pace for 13.5 sacks and over 250 points. Top 3 scores, Montez Sweat, 18.55 points in Week 8, 12.76 points per game average the last 5 games, but 16.5 points per game average for the season. He had 5 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, and 1 QB hit on 67% of snaps. Cam Curl was number 2, 15.75 points, 7 tackles, a forced fumble, and a PD on 100% of snaps. And then Casey Hill was number 3, 11.35 points. In Week 8, a tackle, a TFL, a sack, and a QB hit on 21% of snaps. Headline for the Commander side of things, Addy.
Hill could be interesting if one of these guys gets dealt. Also, James Smith-Williams as well. I mean, you never know. Both of those guys could be due for more snaps if someone leaves.
Now, this episode will come out, for most people, they'll be hearing it right before the trade deadline, which is tomorrow, I believe, at 3 Central, 4 Eastern. Do you think either of the Washington edge rushers gets dealt? I don't think they do.
Probably not.
Because they've only been offered a 3rd round pick for either of these guys.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give a second. Are you kidding me? I mean, what are the chances of hitting on a player as good, especially as Montez Sweat has been, in the 2nd round?
Yeah, I saw where Atlanta was potentially interested in him. That would be a nice fit for him.
If you're Arizona, why are you not buying right now at the deadline some of these edge rushers, some of these young, talented guys that people are shopping around and kind of restocking the team? What if you go get Caleb Williams at the number 1 overall pick, and then you're throwing Montez Sweat onto a rebuilding defense? I mean, you could turn this thing around potentially faster than you think if you turn some of these picks into really talented players.
Yeah, lots of nice pieces out there for up for grabs. Even Minnesota, do they think about maybe dealing Hunter now that Kirk Cousins has torn his Achilles?
That was such a bummer, man.
But yeah, I would love to see one of these guys move and get them out of Washington.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yep.
They've had a nice season, but would love to see the opportunity somewhere else.
Where have you been hearing? Have you been hearing some of the rumors for?
Atlanta was the one I had heard.
Yeah.
But that's I don't think anything's going to come to fruition. The NFL just doesn't, for whatever reason, have a good trade deadline drama. They never have. Most of the trades happen like around the draft, like free agency, like kind of in the offseason. Trade deadline just always passes with a whimper. So we'll see what happens, though. That would be really fun if either of these guys got dealt. The only trade so far that we've seen of any significance was Leonard Williams to the Seahawks.
Interesting trade.
I think is interesting more from an NFL perspective than probably an IDP perspective. But joins a very good defense there in Seattle.
Yeah.
Those uniforms. What a great uniform weekend we had. The
Yeah.
Oilers throwbacks for the Titans.
Those are awesome.
It's just gorgeous. I'm really just not thrilled that Will Levis looked really good in his debut.
Yeah, he did.
Colts squandered one to the Saints. Then you had the Seahawks throwbacks. Might be my favorite this season. We've had some really good. The Creamsicles were great.
Yeah.
The Eagles Kelly Green throwbacks were great. But man, those Seahawks ones were something special.
Those are some of them. Yeah, those are the hits right there. Those
Yes.
ones you just named.
Yes.
Also like those throwback Patriot ones, those red ones, I think.
Yep.
Those are good ones.
It's almost like, why don't we just have a throwback season where
Yeah.
every team wears their throwbacks? Because I guarantee you, visually, it would be a much more enjoyable experience to watch these teams in throwback uniforms.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Saints Colts. We just talked about it. Saints get the 38-27 victory. Saints headline, is Paul Thibodeaux starting to find his rhythm again with back-to-back strong games, Addy? Top three, Paul Thibodeaux was number one, 24.45 points. He had 3 tackles, a pick, 3 PDs on 100% of snaps. He had 19.75 points last week, and he's averaging 10.55 over the last 5 games. Carl Granderson was second, 20.3 points. In week 8, 6 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and 3 QB hits on 82% of snaps. Carl Granderson has been awesome this season. About a 13-point per game average the last 5 games. And then Marshawn Lattimore was third, 18.25 points, 9 tackles, a TFL, and a PD. Talk to me about Paulson Adebo so far this season, Eddie.
He's been awesome, dude. I mean, he missed a few games early on with injury, and that's when we saw Isaac Yiadom come in and play well. But, yeah, Paulson Adebo, he's been the most productive cornerback there in New Orleans this year. I know Alontae Taylor had that monster week, but he's really been kind of fizzling as of late. He's still playing tons of snaps. He's just not been productive. So
Well, then you see Marshawn Lattimore here. So it could be a case of the Saints having 3,
they have 3 solid safeties
above
or corners, yeah.
above average options for IDP for the cornerback side of things,
Yeah, definitely. And then they got a 4th one in waiting that's really good too when he gets a chance.
which is
Yiadom.
Isaac Yiadom. That's right. I do miss saying his name.
Yep. Marcus May didn't get to play. I don't know. I saw where he was maybe dealing with the illness before that game.
They said there were 17 Saints players that were sick that week.
Okay, so that's got to be what that's about.
Because Michael Thomas was sick but played, and I think because I was watching the game, and they said, yeah, he was one of 17 Saints players. This happens this time of year.
Yeah.
These locker rooms, these guys are always together in close quarters, and it's like, it's amazing we got through COVID with no missed games.
Yeah,
with how
true.
close these guys are in contact each week.
Pete Warner sucked again.
Man,
It was just like a 5 or 6 tackle game, I think.
who's been more disappointing this season, Devin White or Pete Warner?
Devin White.
I think so.
Where
yes.
you had to draft
You drafted
him.
him higher than Pete Warner, but people love them some Pete Warner.
Yep.
I bet
Pete
if we
Warner
went
was
back,
drafted pretty high too.
I bet if we went back and looked at the ADP, he was a top 24 linebacker.
I'd say
probably
so.
top 15 or 16.
Yep.
So
Shout out
Colts,
to Mario Davis. We give him hell all the time, but he had a nice tackle week. I think he had like 12 tackles.
there you go.
So
There you go. Demario Davis.
you can chill for a few weeks, bro.
Yep. Take the next week or 2 off. Let's go to the Colts side of things. If Zaire Franklin's knee injury causes him to miss time, Shaq Leonard becomes a viable play at linebacker. Zaire was good this week, though. 97% of snaps, 17.5 points, 14 tackles, and a PD. Is he still on pace for like 700 tackles?
I was looking today. I think it's like 217.
Which I think breaks the record,
I
right?
think so. But yeah, at one point it was like he was
250,
He was
right?
250 or
Yeah,
something like
It's
that.
just nuts. I mean, 200 would be the most we've seen in
since I've been doing this.
I was going to say probably a decade plus.
Yeah.
I think when we looked, the 200 tackle games were from back in the maybe early 2000s.
Fourier got to like 192 one year, didn't he? Mm-hmm. I feel like
I don't think he cracked 200 though.
I don't think so.
That would be incredible. I hope Zaire stays healthy just so he can cross that threshold. But yeah, 16.95 points per game average the last 5 games.
If he does, an EJ Speed could be a league winner, y'all.
That's right. I'm telling you, EJ Speed, you can just tell watching the game. I mean, just go back and watch Colts highlights from this season, and you'll see why we're so fired up about EJ Speed. But DeForest Buckner was the second highest score, 14.65 points, 3 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and a QB hit on 77% of snaps. He's been quiet the last 5 games, though, 7.2 points per game. And Shaq Leonard, 11.25 points, 11 tackles, just 6.25 point per game average the last 5 games. He played 83% of snaps. I think we can move to Jaguars. Steelers, Addy, the edge rushers for the Jags, who got the 20-10 victory. They're one of 4 6-win teams, which is kind of crazy to say that the Jags are, one of the best teams in the league right now by record, but that's where we are. And the edge rushers cashing in Week 8 certainly helped. Top 3 scorers, Josh Allen, 26.75 points. He's been averaging 15.14 points per game the last 5 games. He had 5 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, and 2 QB hits on 82% of snaps. And then Andrew Wingard, let's come back to Mr. Wingard here. 21 points in Week 8, 3 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and a QB hit on 77% of snaps.
Long hair.
Long hair don't care. And then Trayvon Walker rounds out the top 3, 14.5 points, 2 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and 2 QB hits on 73% of snaps. What's going on with Mr. Wingard, though? Is this somebody we can maybe plug in with bye weeks coming back around?
We'll see. I think he's getting his opportunity because of Andre Cisco being out. So if Andre Cisco plays, no, we can't trust him. But yeah, if Cisco's out, yes.
So we have
we can plug him in. 2
guys like this: the Chad Muma for the linebackers, right, and then Wingard for the safeties.
That's right.
If Cisco's out doing the world tour, singing the thong song,
yes,
we plug in Wingard.
Yes,
and that beautiful hair.
Yeah, he's fun. He's again, it's once that hair's flying around, it just does something to the defense. I don't know. It gets people fired up.
I think it's like a caveman type of reaction where it's just like it triggers something deep in our brain to just go next level with the intensity.
Yep.
When you see a man with the hair flowing in the wind.
I mean, also think about it. Every guy that has long hair, they're pretty wild, right? They're a wild card.
They're cool.
They're cool.
They're doing cool stuff. You're like, man,
they're reckless.
They are. They're jumping off of stuff.
Yeah, they're doing stuff that they're always telling you stuff that you're just like, what you did? What?
You jumped off of what?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and because I want you to film me. Why? Because I've got long hair. I look good.
Yep.
I want you to capture me doing some crazy stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah, they know they look good. They're
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be crazy. I'm gonna look hot while I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of sick of it.
Yeah.
Does every guy secretly wish he had long hair?
I think so.
Deep down, I think there's some piece of us that wants that long hair.
Yeah, you want to, if you can, you hope that you can rock it and pull it off and look cool.
But
I mean, there's a good chance that it wouldn't if we tried it.
Yeah, I think we grow it out to like mullet level and then be like, my God, what have we done?
The wives would be like, please, what are we doing?
I will cut it while you sleep if you don't do it.
Yeah.
So there you go, folks. Us follically challenged men are not at all intimidated by men with long hair. Quickly on the Jags before we move on, this is why you keep plugging in Josh Allen, because you never know when he's going to pop off for 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, 5 tackles, and 2 QB hits.
On pace for 19 this year.
Yep. 19 sacks, folks. That's a lot. I did not know it was that high.
Contract year, baby.
That's right. Go get paid, Josh Allen.
He's going to get paid, right?
That's right. Probably by the Jags, which would be fine, I guess. Continuity's good. But
does the Rashawn Gary contract look similar for Josh Allen?
I could see that. What was it? 4 years, $107 million for. So that's what, like roughly like 26, 27 per year.
More than Rashawn Gary or less?
I'm gonna say just a smidge more.
I think a little more too.
Just a smidge more,
because also Gary's coming off the ACL.
Exactly.
I think that was a nice. That was a nice gesture for the Packers.
It was like
obviously Gary's awesome.
Yeah, it was like Jonathan Taylor. Get back healthy, get on the field, and we'll talk contract. And I think the Packers probably played it the same way with Rashawn Gary. Get healthy, get back on the field. Once we feel good that your recovery has gone to plan, we're gonna sign you.
Yeah, we saw the snaps go up.
Yep.
And then they feel good. So
there you go. Yes, I do think Josh Allen gets a deal from the Jags, and I think it's maybe just a smidge north. I could see and I'm not a lot, like 4 years, $110 million or something.
I agree.
It'll be in that ballpark.
Does Sweat doesn't get that type of money? I don't think.
I think Sweat could.
You think so?
I think when you look at the track record, I think Sweat probably has the better track record, because Josh Allen's been a little bit up and down. Now he's played really well this season, but I think size-wise, is Montez Sweat a little bigger than Josh Allen?
He's like 6'5".
I'm just thinking of like what NFL GMs will like look at and prioritize.
Yeah, Sweat is definitely like
I think
RAS freak, no doubt.
The sack total probably is higher for Sweat.
I don't know now.
Yeah, number of games
now, like
played.
Total sacks probably.
Yeah, total sacks probably higher. A number of games played during their careers, probably Sweat's got him beat there. If I had to guess.
I think they've had similar careers, honestly.
Yeah,
They've both like been kind of up and down.
I want the little like player A, player B comparison where they put the stats side by side because I would be curious.
Sweat has been really good like the past year and a half, I feel like. And Josh Allen has been very up and down, right?
Yeah.
But he came into the league like red hot.
Yep.
And then he's just kind of been a letdown until now.
Started red hot, let down, and then come back around. So I'll be curious. I would probably say that Montez Sweat gets more money. But yeah, I think that's going to be like neck and neck. Those deals typically stack in like right. Whoever gets paid second. Like if Josh Allen gets paid first, Montez Sweat is getting more money. If Montez Sweat gets paid first, Josh Allen is getting more money because they use those deals as leverage to get their own deals done. So we'll see how it goes. Pittsburgh Steelers, if Logan Wilson is mom's meatloaf, Cole Holcomb is a TV dinner. It's cheap, does the job. You got it but it doesn't leave you very satisfied. Top 3 for the Steelers, Elandon Roberts, 21.2 points in Week 8, 5 tackles, a TFL, 1.5 sacks, and 2 QB hits on just 44% of snaps. Like this linebacker room is just it's a punchline, man.
He's still good for best ball.
That's true. If
He's
you
had
have
like some nice spike weeks.
Yes. If you have him in best ball, you are pretty satisfied. Devontae Kazee was number 2, 16.95 points, 5 tackles, a pick, a PD. And then Cole Holcomb was number 3, 14.75 points. He's averaging about 13 points the last 5 games, 11 tackles, a fumble recovery, 90% of snaps. I mean, Cole Holcomb, Logan Wilson is the Spider-Man pointing meme right now. They're going to get you 10 to 15 points each week. Solid, steady Eddie, lunch pail, clock in, clock out type of guys.
Yep. Really good players. Logan Wilson has been pretty good though lately. Like he's reached another level.
So the meatloaf is like Gordon Ramsay elevated meatloaf experience.
Well, they're using like prime beef with the meatloaf. You know, it's not the grocery store.
Not the grocery store about to expire. I got the good deal on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I might eat some meatloaf if you had some prime cut.
Bet you would.
If it tastes as good as Logan Wilson's been playing, I'd have to think about it.
Now, Minkah Fitzpatrick left this game with a hamstring injury.
He's already been ruled out.
Keanu O'Neal saw a bump in snap, so maybe he's a viable option for it. I think he actually gets a linebacker tag in sleeper too.
I hate losing Minkah. Minkah's been good this year.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's move
we ain't got them safeties to lose.
That's right. There's not a lot of them that are good out there, so we got to hold on to the ones that we can actually trust.
Reed Blankenship and Cameron Bynum.
Dax Hill. Kyle Hamilton currently sitting as safety 3.
He's been great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Jets Giants though. Jets get the 13-10 win in the Snoopy Bowl. Jets. It's been inconsistent, but Jermaine Johnson could finish the year with double-digit sacks and also bonus headline. Are both Jets linebackers top 6 LBs for the rest of the season? And we had a fun question from Donald S. on the preview show last week about starting both Quincy and CJ in the same IDP lineup. I typically would not do this because it caps your upside, starting 2 players from the same game. But I don't see any issue with this when both guys are playing as well as CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams.
Yeah, no issues at all.
Just fire them both up.
I mean, CJ Mosley's going to be more your steady Eddie type that soaks up 15 tackles and probably doesn't give you much else outside of that. But Quincy Williams will give you 10 and then like 3 TFLs and a sack. And
isn't that the perfect way to just do a lineup, though? Have a steady Eddie guy and then like a little more higher variance guy?
Yeah, and I mean, the Jets are playing tons of snaps. I'm sure that I'm pretty confident that they're both like in the top 5 as far as snaps per game goes. So that's nice. I don't see that really changing anytime soon. The offense can't stay on the field, can't sustain drives, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, Quincy Williams is, I think, number 1 in points per game still.
Incredible. Yeah, 22.25 points in Week 8. He's averaging the last 5 games 22.7 points per game the last 5 games.
I traded him away in Unreal Tournament recently.
Did you?
Yes.
What'd you get for
traded
him?
him for a second.
Hey, that's beautiful.
Fine with that. I'm fine cashing out.
Yep.
You know,
do that all day long.
Never had an opportunity to cash out until now. I mean, he is going to be an LB1 to close out the year, but whatever. I don't think I'm a serious contender in there. I think I need to kind of get some picks for the future and stuff too. But made that move.
There you go. I'm hoping someone comes and gets Bobby Okereke from me.
I thought about sending you an offer.
Yeah, I'm hoping somebody sends me a second for Bobby Okereke. Done.
Thought about sending one for Winfield, but then I realized he was expiring.
Yeah, his deal is not too bad in there. I think his extension.
It's like 4 years, 40. I looked into it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the Javon Holland one wasn't as bad. It was a little cheaper, and then Cam Curl I think was also pretty affordable.
Oh, interesting.
So, got 3 expiring safeties in there. So
I've got safety troubles.
Come get him, brother. We are wide open for business. We are cruising for the number 1 pick in the XFFL. But yes, Quincy Williams was awesome. 11 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a PD. And CJ Mosley, 21.15 points. He's averaging 18.2, 12 tackles, half a sack, a PD, and a QB hit on 100% of snaps. But let's talk about Jermaine Johnson.
Sure.
Real quick, Addy. 30.9 points, 12.37 points per game average, 6 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, and 4 QB hits on 73% of snaps. Is Jermaine Johnson starting to solidify himself as the top edge option on this team?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yes, he is the top edge option on the team. Bryce Huff is a very close second. Bryce Huff has a 29.9% pressure rate.
Oh my gosh. Is that leading the league right now?
That's number 1 in the league. He's been productive over the last 3 games too. 15.1 points in week 5, 18.5 in week 6, and then 15.1 this past week. So, and still the snaps aren't anything crazy, you know, like, he's still just getting 35% of the snaps right now. So,
wow, that's nuts. Talk about a guy that I would love to see, like, we were talking about the Cardinals earlier. Why are the Cardinals or one of these kind of rebuilding franchises, the Panthers, the Bears, like the Bears have so much need on the defensive line. Mm-hmm. Why aren't they sending, I mean, heck, a 3rd-round pick probably gets Bryce Huff from the Jets?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It drives me crazy when the GMs have access to the same information as us, and they're not like, you know, the Jets aren't really using this Bryce Huff guy, and he's like one of the most prolific I rushers in the league from a pressure standpoint.
I guess they'll get a comp pick probably,
mm-hmm.
right? A 3rd will be a 3rd based on it's based on the contract they sign, right?
I think so.
I bet Huff gets a decent little deal.
I think so. I think he'll be one of those low key. Who did we say he'll remind us of?
Uchenna.
Yeah,
Uchenna. The situation's very much like Uchenna's situation. Even the play styles, they kind of remind me of each other. Huff is a little undersized,
a little smaller. Yep.
But yeah, he's super explosive, dude, and has a really good motor. So
I think he'll get like a Caden Ellis type of like eyebrow raising deal. Like, whoa, didn't think that Bryce Huff was going to get that kind of deal.
Yeah,
he'll get more than I think Caden did, but
like a 2-year, $24 million or something like that.
I could see that. Yep. Some team would be very smart to cash in on Bryce Huff and pick this guy up during free agency. On the Giants side, Myles Garrett dressed up as Jeepers Creepers for Halloween, but Kayvon dressed up as Myles Garrett. Good one, Aaron. Top 3, Kayvon Thibodeaux. We mentioned him at the top of the show. Joined the 40-point club. 47.85 points, 9 tackles, 3 TFLs, 3 sacks, 41 freaking sack yards, a forced fumble, and 3 QB hits on 97% of snaps. He is playing a Max Crosby level snap count this season. 15.43 points per game average the last 5 games. Addy, let's pause right there. Kayvon Thibodeaux started the season slow. We were a little worried about him, but my God, he has been on fire these last few games.
Yeah, I mean, on pace for 18 sacks now. So you love to see that.
I love to see that. Anytime they're flirting with 20 sacks, I'm paying attention.
But yeah, those first 2 weeks, 3.5 points week 1, then 2 points week 2, then 13, 28, 15, 1.25, 19.3 in week 7, and then 47.8 points this past week. So
we feel those stinkers because they came early in the season, but he's only had 3 duds?
Yeah, right.
Three single-digit outputs.
Pressure rate's 10%, but again, that is continuing to climb. He was really bad, like from a metric standpoint, to start the year. But also, that Giants team just got off to a really, really weird start.
Yep.
Like across the board, that entire team was not good.
Now they got Tommy DeVito, who might be the most outwardly Italian quarterback we've ever had in the league.
I know.
He had the TD chain.
Yeah.
Touchdown, Tommy DeVito. I mean,
named DeVito.
This feels like a backyard football type of character.
Yeah. Love to see that going on there. Dexter Lawrence had 15 pressures this week.
Yeah, you were asking Macri about this on Twitter with the most cursed GIF I have ever seen. Go check it out, folks, if you hadn't. Just look at Adam's recent tweets and look for the one to John. But, yeah, that was close to the record, right?
Yeah, I think the record for pressures in a game was 18 from – who was it? It was
some random.
Chris Clemens.
There you go. Oh.
Chris Clemens. It was in 2011, I think, Macri said. So, I mean, it's been a long time. Maybe it was before that. But, yeah, Chris Clemens.
I was thinking of Michael Clemens with, like, the bull ring in his nose.
No. Chris Clemens. I think Chris Clemens was pretty good in his day, too.
Yes.
But, 15 pressures this past weekend for Dexter Lawrence. So, yeah, I asked Macri, like, what's the record all time? And it's 18.
There you go, folks. 18 pressures. So 15.
But they were giving away back then. A lot easier to do now.
Equals very good pressures.
Harder to get them now.
So speaking of Dexter Lawrence.
They didn't know what they was doing back then.
PFF was just in its infancy. Dexter Lawrence, 21.85 points, 3 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and 5 QB hits on 83% of snaps. And then Bobby Okereke rounds out the top 3, 19.25. He's averaging 20.49 the last 5 games. He had 9 tackles and 3 TFLs and 100% of snaps. So Bobby O has been very good as well.
He's been awesome. Azeez Ojulari, I saw where I don't think we touched on this, but they put him on IR actually. I think they're going to see if he could try and make his way back, but they went ahead and shut him down for a little bit longer. So you'll be without him for a few more weeks, I'd say. And then we know about Leonard Williams getting shipped out of town, so we'll be seeing who fills in for him. Jihad Ward has been the guy filling in for Azeez Ojulari, but not really someone that should be on your radar.
Major bummer with Azeez Ojulari this year.
Micah McFadden's snaps have kind of been going down. I don't know if I think he was dealing with some injury stuff too, so maybe it's because of that. But Bobby O is really the only guy I think you can feel great about there.
Yeah, keep an eye on if McFadden gets banged up. It might be Isaiah Simmons' season once again.
Yeah.
Never know. So they got to put someone in there next to Bobby O. But yeah, probably not.
Sorry, Bob.
Sorry, Bobo. Let's talk about Texans falling to the Panthers. The Panthers getting their first dub, 15-13 over Houston. Houston headline, Jonathan Grenard's breakout season is well underway. 2 sacks shy of his career best, and we're only at week 8. He had 35 points in week 8, 12.16 points per game average the last 5 games. He had 6 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, 25 sack yards, and 4 QB hits on 66% of snaps. Malik Collins was at number 2, 27 points with 2 sacks, 7 tackles, a TFL, and 3 QB hits. And then Blake Cashman. This linebacker situation, I think, is starting to clarify a little bit, Addy. I think Cashman is the guy you want. 19.55 points, 91% of snaps, 18.55 points per game average the last 5 games. He had 5 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, and 1 QB hit. So let's talk about Cashman first, and then we'll go back to Grenard. Do we have the linebacker finally figured out? Is it Blake Cashman? Are you still holding out hope for Denzel Perryman? Certainly not Christian Harris.
Yeah.
But it's still a little bit ambiguous there behind Cashman, I feel like.
Yeah, I think Cashman is the guy. I mean, he's been tearing it up from a PFF standpoint, too. Do you have the grades pulled up?
I do. There? Yep. 68.1 this week overall. Run defense 82. Pass rush 79. Tackling 55.3. Coverage 48.
So it's still a very solid week. And I mean, that's not the overall grades. The overall grades are like some of the best in the league. So, I feel like they've been taking notice of that. So I think he's going to be safe and secure there. And actually someone that I was thinking about, like, pretty good trade target for you if you're contender. Yes. You don't want to go spend, out the ass for a Bobby O or one of those types, Quincy Williams. You don't want to go pay a second. You should be targeting
Cashman for a third.
Cashman for a fourth.
I think
try to
start with a fourth.
You know, like think about the RSO leagues that we're in, where people just picked up Cashman off waivers.
If they can turn a guy off of waivers into a 4th round pick,
right? Because they're expiring anyway.
Yep.
You know, so because I don't really feel like I'm going to pay a third for Cashman.
Yeah,
in
probably
that type
not.
of setting, and even like a normal dynasty league, like I don't know what to expect. You know, outside
past
of
the season.
Although it could be really nice. It could be. You could have gold there if this guy does end up being actually good and like sticks around and gets starter reps for the next few years. Like, gosh, that's
pretty nice.
Very nice. So
Henry To'oTo'o was 49%, Denzel Perryman 48%, Christian Harris 16%.
yeah, I just
So it's nothing I'm interested in behind Cashman.
yeah, I don't feel good about it outside of him. So yeah, Cashman, maybe try and get some offers out there.
Yeah,
for him.
if you're able to trade for Cashman, let us know what you got him for. We'll feature it on the IDP Trade Show, and we'll maybe even talk about it on one of the recap episodes as well. But let's jump back up to Jonathan Grenard. 35 points, 2.5 sacks, 4 QB hits, 12.16 points per game average the last 5 games. This is a sneaky little edge target here, Addy.
Yeah, dude, he's averaging 16.5 on the season.
There you go.
I mean, he's had some really nice weeks. 19.45 in week 1. 32 points in week 4, and then 35 this past week. So I mean, there's not a lot of people that have been doing that this year, and pressure numbers are fine. 12.4%. No, I'm sorry, 11% pressure rate, which is solid. Will Anderson has 12.4% pressure rate. So I know Will Anderson's been frustrating from IDP standpoint, but I expect him to have better days ahead.
Of course, yeah. He's a rookie. Like we should be patient with this stuff. I'm not disappointed. Could he have had a hotter start? Of course, but you're not like, I'm not sitting here panicking and selling Will Anderson in Dynasty.
Still getting good pressures.
Yeah,
grades are good. Looks good.
If you've got someone in your league who's panicked about Will Anderson or mad that he hasn't contributed year 1, slide in there and see if you can grab him, because you may have some frustrated managers out there. Or send him Jonathan Grenard and maybe a late pick or something to see if you can scoop up Will Anderson in Dynasty. Let's move to the Panthers side of things. Addy, are you disappointed with Brian Burns so far in 2023? He is currently the edge rusher 21 by Big 3 scoring.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair. I think he's frustrated though, right? And I think there's been a lot of stuff circulating around him about trades.
That team stinks.
We know about the holdout stuff, and also he just doesn't have a lot of help there. You know, it's Derek Brown and Frankie Luvu, and that's really about it.
That's really about it.
You know, so yeah, I'd say that he probably wants to get out of there at this point. So I mean, he might just be trying to
not get hurt,
stay healthy. Right? Exactly.
Yeah, his grades were not good this week. 50.2. Overall, run defense 45, pass rush 56.9, coverage 64.1, just a 25.6 tackle grade. He had 12.25 points, just 2 tackles, a sack, and a QB hit. 9.92 points per game average the last 3 games. That's not going to get it done. But let's talk about who did get it done. Frankie Luvu. Man, just love seeing this guy have blow-up games. Scott Hansen, you need to learn the pronunciation of some of these IDPs. I did not know how to pronounce Frankie Luvu's name.
How's he saying it?
Like love you or Luvu. I think it was Luvu, Frankie Luvu. I was like, man, come on, bro. How do you not have just a pronunciation guide for every player? And also, like, Frankie Luvu's pretty good. Like, this is not some guy that they signed off the street last week or something, you know?
Yeah, he probably made the Pro Bowl, I'd say.
Yeah, like, come on. Like, show some love to the defensive side of the ball. But Frankie Luvu was awesome last week. 34.6 points in week 8, 12.9 points per game average the last 5 games. He had 12 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, 2 PDs, and a QB hit on 100% of snaps. He was getting floated as a trade target as well. That would be a lot of fun. Drop him onto like a contender and let him loose. I would love to see him on a better supporting cast.
I saw Xavier Woods was back in this game.
He was 12.5 points, third highest score on the team.
No Jeremy Chin, no Von Bell. Sam Franklin sucked in a really big spot for him. I'm sure a lot of people might have started him.
Yep.
Good process, I think. Just
just doesn't get the result that you want.
Yep.
Dante Jackson, 13.25 points, was the second leading scorer. Let's move, though, Addy, to Patriots. Dolphins get the 31-17 win over the Patriots. Headline for the Pats. Is Kyle Duggar the chosen one? Is this finally the IDP that is going to break the curse of Bill Belichick hating your fantasy lineup? 32.35 points in week 8, 11.7 points per game average the last 5 games, 100% of snaps. That's the number one stat, though, that I want to draw your attention to. Kyle Duggar, been pretty solid despite all of the things working against him, mainly Bill Belichick not wanting to give guys consistent snaps.
Yeah, he's been awesome. And he's really been good his entire career there. I mean, Bill has liked him.
Yes.
So, I mean, as much as Bill Belichick can like anybody, I mean, he's given him at least like 7% of the snaps every single year. And then, it seems like now he's really starting to trust him.
One of Bill Belichick's probably few draft hits in recent years.
Yeah. So that's been great to see. Jabril Peppers has been someone that's been useful for us now too. That's also been nice.
Peppers be hot, as we
Peppers
know.
be hot. Juwan Bentley was hurt in this game.
Yeah, pay attention to Mac Wilson. That was in Boo Bam's waiver article.
Exactly.
Mac Wilson is a nice little fill-in if you want to get the Bentley replacement.
Bentley was headed towards a big week too. I think he had 6 tackles and he only played 26% of the snaps. So
what was the injury? Was he?
It was a hamstring.
Oh man.
But yeah, we definitely had some tackle props with Bentley. So unfortunate.
Boo. That's the worst. Christian Barmore was the second highest scorer, 15.85 points.
He's been good as of late.
Yep, 64% of snaps. He had 5 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and a QB hit. 10.48 points per game average the last 5 games. And then J.C. Jackson comes back to New England, turns into a top cornerback option. You can't make this stuff up. 11.75 points in week 8 on 68% of snaps. Let's move to the Dolphins side, Addy. It was a Jalen week. Jalen Phillips is heating up right in time to play Mahomes and have a bye week. Don't go chasing Jalen Ramsey's points quite yet, though. Top 3 for the Dolphins. Jalen Phillips, welcome back, you beautiful bastard. 20.4 points. 8 tackles, a TFL, a sack, 9 sack yards, and a QB hit. 20.75 points last week. 85% of snaps for Jalen Phillips. Christian Wilkins continues to be an outstanding option for D-tackle required leagues. Hell, DL leagues, if you play in sleeper. 16.35 points in week 8. He's averaging 13.54 the last 5 games. He had 5 tackles, a TFL, a sack, 6 sack yards, and a QB hit on 87% of snaps. And then Bradley Chubb, 15.75 points. He had 13.03 points per game average the last 5 games. Got himself a sack and a TFL and 2 QB hits on 81% of snaps. And there was Jalen Ramsey. Great to see him back. Didn't think we were going to have him back till sometime in December. He makes it back before Halloween. 15.65 points. Just 1 assist, but he did have the INT with 49 return yards.
Did you see the hype video before the game?
I did not. Was it good?
It was pretty good.
Yeah. It's fun to welcome Ramsey back to that team with how good they're playing, how good he looked in his return. I mean, coming back that quickly from the injury he had, we've seen some pretty remarkable injury recoveries. You got Aaron Rodgers out there dropping back, pushing off that foot, throwing the ball.
Yep.
I mean, it's been a wild year for science and recovery and NFL. Is there a chance Rodgers makes it back before the end of the season?
Maybe so.
And it's what did someone say?
Are they going to be even in it though? No.
I mean, I'm just saying, could he make it back before the playoffs even start?
Oh, I wouldn't think so.
I think he just wants to prove after the whole immunized thing that like he can make it back with like peyote and like dolphin porn, as someone pointed out on Twitter. It's like I kind of want to see it. It's great content. I think every week he's just dropping these little teasers on Twitter.
That was such a bummer. That was a huge bummer.
Fired up,
man.
Yeah. So who knows? It's weirder things have happened. But welcome back, Jalen Ramsey. Dolphins edge rushers, speak on it. Bradley Chubb. Hell, let's talk about the defensive line in general. Christian Wilkins and Jalen Phillips. all have been standouts here the last couple weeks.
I mean, it's so good that we can no longer, they can no longer play Van Ginkel.
I know.
You know, Emmanuel Ogbah's forgotten about.
Distant memory at this point.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I mean, Ogbah was, you know, I think he had like almost 10 sacks a few seasons ago, right? They gave him that big deal, and then he
gone.
Yeah, he gets like less than 10 snaps a week now. So, yeah, Bradley Chubb, I mean, welcome back to the radar, man. He's been awesome this year.
Now, what's his sack pace for the season?
He's on pace for 10.5.
There you go. I think you called him for double digit in your little mini flag plant, didn't you?
Yep, I definitely did.
There you go.
Heating up 14.9 points per game on the season. Christian Wilkins, 13.1 points per game. Jalen Phillips, 12.6 points per game. Jalen Phillips, one of the better tackling edge guys in the league. 12.3% tackle rate this year. He's averaging 5.6. I mean, I think it's second to only Max Crosby.
They remind me so much of each other, man.
They do, right? Exactly.
They really do.
Good in the run game, high motors, explosive.
You
Dogs.
just watch him and you're like, that guy is good at football.
Yes.
You know, there's no holes in his game.
Yep.
So good to have him back. I wanted to see who had been the top defensive tackles on the season so far. You are not going to believe this, folks, but Justin Madubuike has moved into the number 1 spot. He is D-tackle 1 on the season. We'll talk about him here in just a little bit. But Christian Wilkins, let's see, he is down here. It looks like Oliver is still number 2 behind Madubuike. And then Christian Wilkins is D-tackle 3, tied with DeForest Buckner right now, who is D-tackle 3, I guess. And then how is DJ Wanham right there? We're not gonna talk about Wanham. I'm just not gonna do it.
Aaron Donald's at 14.1 points per game. So have they had a bye or anything? No.
The Rams? I don't think so.
So he's got to be up there too.
Yeah. Let's move to the next game, though. Addy, Falcons fall to the Titans. Will Levis's debut. We mentioned it earlier in those beautiful Houston Oilers uniforms. Derrick Henry not going to get traded now if they've got to the mayonnaise coffee chugging monster that is Will Levis, tossing the ball up to DeAndre Hopkins for 3 touchdowns. It's like
mayonnaise chugging, banana peel eating.
Yeah, just a complete weirdo. But hey, I think all of that attention he garnered, it's like kept him on the radar.
Yeah,
you know, it's for the clicks, for the content.
That's all that matters.
It worked. It worked. And hey,
we should do that.
No, we shouldn't. If I'm a rookie making my debut in the NFL, I'm just gonna be like, hey, coach, I'm just gonna throw it to DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
just gonna launch it in his general direction and hope for the best.
I mean, but wouldn't you do the same thing? Like,
yes,
you would do the exact same thing. So you've been watching DeAndre Hopkins forever. You know,
be like, hi, DeAndre.
I'm just gonna keep throwing it to you, dude.
I'm just every time. Like, I don't care what down and distance it is, you are getting the ball, my friend.
And he's gonna tell that story forever.
Yes, like I threw 3 touchdown passes to DeAndre freaking Hopkins, who's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
In my NFL debut. No matter what happens, they can't take that away from you.
Maybe DeAndre Hopkins will be telling his kids about Will Levis.
Hey, you never
Will
know.
Levis.
I hope
still
not.
like Levis. I think you should do Levis.
No, well, it's not too late. You could get him traded to San Francisco and he can play in Levi's Stadium.
That's a really good idea.
There you go. How's that?
They need a quarterback too.
How's that sponsorship not happened yet?
I know.
Falcons, Titans, though. Let's start with the Falcons. Are the Falcons the most uninspiring team for IDP? Is there anyone on this team you're excited to start?
Landman, baby.
Oh, God. Nate Ocean Man?
Yes, sir.
No, there's no one on this team I'm excited to start.
The safeties are fine.
Richie Grant, 13.75 points.
Jesse Bates.
10.88 points per game average the last 5 games.
We know about Jesse Bates' ceiling. I was also a little surprised at how solid Calais Campbell's been. You know, if you're in those leagues where you start 4 defensive linemen, like he's fine.
I think
playing a
Kyle
lot of
and
snaps.
Jake were talking about him getting his 100th sack
Yes.
here, I think last week maybe,
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's
I don't know.
37 years old, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how impressive that is. I mean, he's been in the league for about 30 years now, so.
But still, 30 years or 300 years to get 100 sacks. Congratulations, Calais. I just don't want to be on the bad side of a man who's 6'7".
Yeah. He's got one of those like voices that sounds exactly like his size.
Yes,
you know?
he does. That is what I expect someone 6'7" who's played in the NFL for 30 years to sound like.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Arnold Ebiketie was number 2, Bud Dupree number 3. I mean, yeah, this is just it's not that these guys are bad options. You're just like, okay, I guess.
Ebiketti's was like a blown play type sack. Bud Dupree we should have seen that coming. Maybe the revenge game against Tennessee.
There you go. I mean, man, revenge game, contract years. The storylines have been juicy this season.
Yeah. But Bud Dupree, I mean, he's getting like 60 to 70% of snaps. I mean, they trust him there, So you can do worse. Him and Calais Campbell, I know it sounds insane, but
hey, bye weeks are coming up. We're gonna have a lot of hold your nose and stardom type moments. Yeah, 62% of snaps for Bud Dupree this week. So there you go. Titans though, it looks like
Grady Jarrett got hurt in this one.
Yes, they did trade for a defensive tackle. I saw to replace Grady Jarrett, but he is out for the season.
So, for the season?
Yes, he is.
Oh, man.
Yep. I'll double check that. But Titans side of things, it looks like Harold Landry is starting to get healthy, and Jeffrey Simmons rewards managers who stuck it out. His first game over 9 points since week 2. He went for 32.9 points in week 8. Just been averaging 6.86. So I understand if he went for 30 on your bench, but this is why you continue to start guys like Jeffrey Simmons, because he can go for 6 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, 14 sack yards, a forced fumble, and a QB hit on 79% of snaps. Harold Landry was really good this game as well. 27.35 points, 5 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, and 2 QB hits. 19.45 points last week. Harold Landry is heating up. Danico Autry also continues to do the damn thing. 22.5 points in week 8. 11.59 points per game average the last 5 games. He had 4 tackles, a TFL, a sack, 2 PDs, and 1 QB hit on 74% of snaps. So I like all of these defensive linemen in Tennessee, Addy.
Yeah, I think so too. Would like to see Arden Key kind of start getting it going, but he's someone that you can't really trust at this point. But yeah, great to see Harold Landry. I mean, up to this point, he'd been kind of disappointing, He's now averaging 10.2 points per game with this 27 point game on the books, but pressure rate also has not been very good this year, just 6%, but he is working his way back from an ACL injury. I think that this was kind of expected, should have been expected, that it's going to take him a little bit of time to get the rest off. Yep. And 8 games in now, or 7 games in for them, and I think we can expect a nice second half from Landry.
Yeah, I hope so. I did look. It is a torn ACL for Grady Jarrett out for the season.
Oh, man.
So that sucks. Vikings, Packers, though, speaking of things that suck, you hate to see Kirk Cousins popped Achilles, done for the season. I mean, just bummed for Kirk the person. Really came to like Kirk a lot more than I thought I was going to going into that Netflix QB show. So hoping for a speedy recovery for Kirk Cousins. You want that team to kind of start selling some assets and look to the future, or just hold things down and
they're in a
very weird spot.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? Do you want to bring Kirk back, off of an Achilles injury?
An Achilles in his mid-30s.
I don't know that that's the best move for him. I mean, but they have 4 wins now.
I know.
So I mean, it's not like they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be in the top 5. They'll still probably be able to scrape together some wins.
Do you think they go out and trade for a QB?
I saw that. I saw there were some rumors about maybe them trading for Jameis Winston.
Can you imagine? I mean, if you want a guy to just chuck it up to Jordan Addison and Jefferson when he comes back, I mean,
yeah,
let's ride, baby. Let's have some fun.
They do have Nick Mullins, who is interesting. He can sling it,
Yeah. He's not a guy I want to see start like 9-10 games the rest of the season, but
remember when he cried? It was like after his first game.
I remember when he cried?
It was Aaron Andrews interviewing him, and he cried.
To be fair, I would cry too if I was playing in the NFL and Aaron Andrews was interviewing me.
Yeah,
this is a dream come true.
Just a bad look for him to start off their career. So.
Men don't cry, guys. Okay,
that's right.
Suck those tears back up in there.
Take it with you to the grave, y'all.
Let that heart fail at 42 from holding in those emotions. Let's talk about Vikings Packers though before I get you more wound up. On the Vikings side of things, with a really favorable schedule upcoming, is it time to accept that it might be Wanham season? No. Wiki. If you want to accept that it's wicked DJ Wanham season, you can. I'm not going to get on that boat with you. but he has been pretty good here recently.
Yeah, and we like him in best balls.
I was gonna say, I just can't with this guy. I just can't.
I mean, matchup based, sure. He played like over 90% of the snaps.
93% of snaps. He's averaging 14.93 points per game the last 5 games.
So I don't really see that changing. I mean, I think that they'll let him get, at least 80.
I mean, probably, especially if Danielle Hunter gets dealt, which I don't think is going to happen, but Davenport's out.
Yeah, Davenport's
Shocker.
out for, who knows, maybe the whole season. Hopefully the whole season.
I mean, probably.
Pat Jones has been actually getting an opportunity. He's getting over 50% of the snaps, but he's just not doing anything with them. He's playing 51% of the snaps this year. But, yeah, I mean, I think Wanham and Hunter both going to be fine options for you.
Wanham and Hunter.
It's crazy.
Sounds like 2 redneck kids. Get over here, Wanham. Go find your brother Hunter. Josh Metellus, 99% of snaps, 22.8 points, 8 tackles, a pick, a PD, 13.1 points per game average the last 5 games.
Yeah, Metellus has been really good, and he could have had an even bigger week. He missed a pick, and then he missed a sack. He couldn't wrap up on the sack, but, yeah, really good game. All 3 of those guys are just fine starts. They're all somehow, safety 2 options.
Cam Bynum
safety 1 or 2 now.
I'll double check it, but yeah, I think he's safety 1, 20.95 points. He had 7 tackles, half a sack, 2 PDs, and a QB hit on 100% of snaps. 17.3 points per game average the last 5 games. Let's look at DBs. Yes, he is DB1 on the season right now, ahead of Darius Williams for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Deron Bland and Dax Hill and Devon Witherspoon. So there you go, folks.
9.5 tackles per game for Cam Bynum.
That is why you do not draft DB early.
Yeah, exactly. There it is.
God, I mean, that right there. Do you want me to read it again? It's Cam Bynum, Darius Williams, Deron Bland, Dax Hill, and Devon Witherspoon. I have to say Witherspoon at some point just so people don't look up with him spoon. On the Packers side, though, Addy, Devondre Campbell returns straight from injury back into our hearts. God, it is good to have you back. Devondre Campbell, my best ball teams, thank you. Preston Smith quietly has had a sack in 3 straight games, though.
He had a monster one this week.
Yes, 34.65 points, 5 tackles, a TFL, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, a PD, 4 QB hits, 93% of snaps. Good to have Keyshawn Nixon back in the mix as well, 20.55 points. Remember, Big 3 scoring is kick and punt return scoring setup. So 68 return yards, 5 tackles, 2 PDs, 61% of snaps. And then Devondre Campbell, 17.5 points in week 8, 93% of snaps, 14 tackles, and a QB hit. I am so excited to have Devondre Campbell back in our lives.
Yeah. Sad, though. Pour one out for Isaiah McDuffie.
What a shame to lose Isaiah McDuffie. You couldn't have seen that coming when Devondre Campbell got back healthy.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, that guy. Back to the shelf with you, Isaiah McDuffie.
Darnell Savage is on IR now, and his replacement, let's see. Gosh, I just had it.
Was it Rudy Ford?
Not Rudy Ford.
Gosh, Addy. I can't even vamp for you because I was going to take a drink of water. Who was the replacement for Darnell Savage? Not Adrian Amos, because he's in New York now, playing for the Jets. We'll have to come back to it, Addy. We got to move on. It'll come to you, or you'll find it. But let's move to
Jonathan Owens.
There you go. Oh,
from Houston last year.
That is actually Simone Biles' husband.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably the most famous gymnast of our lifetime.
That's right.
I saw her in this. I was like, "What is Simone Biles doing?"
Oh, she was at the game.
Yeah, she had a spray painted shirt that said, I think, Owen on it.
Oh,
and had pictures of him and stuff. I was like, again, what is Simone Biles doing here? I had to look up that was her husband.
She's trying to overtake Taylor Swift.
I know. She's like, let me get in on some of this Taylor Swift action. Pump up the Olympics next year in Paris. Let's talk Rams Cowboys though. This game was a just brutal beatdown of Los Angeles by Dallas. CeeDee Lamb, I think, was he wide receiver 1 this week? I mean,
he was insane.
That dude was nuts. Him and, oh my God, the A.J. Brown catch with the one-handed. He's having the wide receiver 1 on the season type of performance this year so far, which is really fun. Packers side of the Rams side though, Ernest hits his third game in a row under 12 points per game. Does it change your opinion on him even slightly? I think Ernest is just banged up right now. If you've got better options, it's okay to sit Ernest down because he's just not healthy right now.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I mean, nothing to be worried about. You saw the first 5 games. How
he's
good
just hurt.
It was. Yep.
That's why the snaps have been dipping a little bit. Aaron Donald, though, 26.2 points, 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, 2 QB hits, 66% of snaps. He's been averaging 15.13 points per game the last 5 games. Probably not going to be D-tackle 1 because Matabukake has been lights out so far this season.
AD's coming, though, man.
But AD he's surging.
He's been great once again. The only thing is, what does that team look like now? You know?
Yeah, with the UCL sprain on Stafford's thumb.
Although with it just being a sprain, maybe it's not too big.
He could come back. I thought it was weird that he hurt the thumb, which the injury just looked.
It looks so bad.
He's had a thumb injury before, I feel like. Like, what is up with this man's thumb slamming into people's helmets?
He's just reckless, dude.
I know.
Like there was no reason, to throw the ball the way he did.
Yeah, it was like coming in like a karate chop almost and just whammed it into some guy's helmet.
It's like, Matt,
chill out, bro.
Come on, Matt.
Oh, your wife's feuding with somebody named Blueface. Like, is this part of the Blue Man group?
That's a thing?
That's a real thing. Yeah, she was like, stop bringing strippers to the stadium. And he was like, your daughter should be fine being around strippers. And I was like, that's kind of a fair point. These are working women trying to earn a living. And Kelly Stafford, maybe just sit down and be humble.
Wow, I didn't see that. I missed that.
Yeah, they were beefing.
Wow, Blueface is a big deal, too, these days, I think.
Sure. I did overlook. Aaron Donald is actually D-tackle, too. I just completely skipped right over him. He is 2 points behind Matabukake. And looks like about 6 points ahead of the next guy, Ed Oliver. So maybe I'll have 2 flag plants because I think the Devondre Campbell top 12 is out the door with the number of games he's missed. But we could still get 2 out of 3, which would be our best finish ever.
Should have done the PPG.
Should have done the PPG. Yep. The injury history. I just flew too close to the sun. Yeah, so Aaron Donald was number 1 for the Rams. Jordan Fuller, number 2, 18.8 points, 100% of snaps. Quentin Lake was number 3. He had 13 points on 49% of snaps. And then, Ernest Jones, he has just had 8.6 points per game average, week 6 through 8, including 11.5 in week 8, 98% of snaps. So at least he got the snaps. Yeah.
He'll be fine.
I'm not too worried about Ernest Jones.
He'll put
8
up 30
tackles.
next week.
Yeah, in the TFL. Deron Bland, though, Cowboys. Best ball week winner with his 3rd, not just INT, folks, 3rd pick 6 of the season. Deron Bland, 31.25 points in week 8, 14.03 points per game average the last 5 games. 7 tackles, a pick, a defensive touchdown, 2 PDs, 94% of snaps. Micah Parsons, are we surprised to see him up here on the podium? 24.4 points in week 8, 17.45 points per game average the last 5 games. He had 2 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, a PD, and 3 QB hits. And then Dorrance Armstrong, 12.7 points in week 8 on 50% of snaps. He had 2 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and a QB hit. Anything you want to touch on from the Cowboys, Addy?
I mean, we'll see what happens with those linebackers if Rashaan Evans gets more play, going forward. But as of right now, it looks like it's Damone Clark and then Marquise Bell.
Marquise Bell, like we all expected.
Marquise Bell gets defensive back designation on a lot of sites. He's a safety on RSO. I know he gets the DB tag on Sleeper.
What's going on here?
So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like, again, like if Rashaan Evans gets, if they start letting him get any run, I mean, he could be pretty big for us. But if not, Marquise Bell, fine option.
Yes,
LVE is out for.
I thought he was headed to IR. I haven't seen officially if he's been placed on IR yet.
I think he did.
Yeah, because he had the neck injury. Yeah, Damone Clark was 81% of snaps. Marquise Bell was 73%, and Rashaan Evans was 11% this week. Shout out Macri for that roundup. Browns, Seahawks, those gorgeous uniforms. Got the Seahawks the 24-20 victory over Cleveland. Let's start with the Browns, though. Just a couple weeks ago, this is the headline. After we thought he'd secured the job, hell, I put him in the title of the episode. JOK is back to a sub 60% snap share. Let's talk about the highlights from this game. Myles Garrett, once again, leading scorer for the Browns, 17.1 points, 2 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a forced fumble, and a QB hit, 91% of snaps. A lot of green in those PFF grades. He has been averaging 23.76 points per game average the last 5 games. Martin Emerson was number 2, 17 points, 6 tackles, an INT, and a PD on 84% of snaps. Maurice Hurst was 3, 12 points on 45% of snaps, and then JOK, 7.5 points in Week 8. He has a 13.65 points per game average the last 5 games, just 4 tackles and a TFL on 59% of snaps. I'm interested in the defensive line, and that's about it.
Yeah, Grant Delpit.
Yeah.
We'll take him.
Fine
but
option.
Yeah, you can't trust any of these linebackers
Nope.
at all. Zadarius Smith got banged up in this one, so we'll have to monitor that. Could mean for a bigger role for Agbana Okoronkwo.
Yeah, Ogbania Okoronkwo.
Him.
00. 007, baby. He should be number 7 because that'd be a pretty sick nickname.
That would be cool.
Yeah, the Browns, I think we can move on. You know you want Myles Garrett. Keep an eye on Okoronkwo if Zadarius Smith is out for an extended period of time, and just stay away from these damn linebackers. They're so annoying. I'm sick of them. I'm over it. Let's move to the Seahawks. At a headline here, Boye Mafe has sacks in 5 straight games and is well and truly breaking out. 27.7 points in Week 8, 13.12 points per game average the last 5 games. He had 8 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a fumble recovery, 4 QB hits, 74% of snaps. It seems like Boye Mafe is going to be the big winner from the Uchenna Nwosu injury and season-ending injury for Uchenna.
Yes. Would you say those snaps were last week?
I don't have it for last week, but he played 74% of snaps this week.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, he's up there now. I mean, 74%. That's really nice.
That's really solid.
13.3% pressure rate this year. That leads his team. And then I mean, you're seeing him produce with his opportunities. So I mean, love what they're doing. Love that defense. I mean, they just added Leonard Williams to it as well. So I mean, that's nice.
That was my Super Bowl pick.
And also they put Frank Clark on that team too.
They did. They signed him. Just thought he was going to Kansas City. Came to Seattle.
A lot of weird personalities in that locker room.
Yeah, that locker room is just a melting pot of potential explosive weirdness.
Yeah, but if anyone can handle it, it's Pete Carroll. So
it's Geno Smith.
Yeah, Geno Smith,
as we know, very good with locker room relations.
But Pete Carroll has so much history with that stuff too. I mean, like think about the Michael Bennett's, Frank Clark previously,
the Legion of Boom teams. I mean, all those personalities.
Yes,
yeah. Pete Carroll's the best.
Marshawn Lynch.
I think I would put
Russell Wilson's a weird ass.
Yeah, I would put Tomlin up there probably because he kept Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell from killing each other or someone else.
Yeah.
During the time when he had those 3 guys on the team.
Has Tomlin won a Super Bowl?
He has.
One.
I think he's won.
He was the Santonio Holmes.
Yes, because they had the Steelers won 2, and it was Cowher won 1, and then Tomlin won 1.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, so I love both those coaches. I think that is an underrated aspect of coaching, being able to manage personalities and manage people, because a lot of these guys come in with massive egos or just total weirdos.
Yeah.
So Pete Carroll, I think he may be the best in the game at managing a locker room.
He's great, but I mean this Seattle defensive line is just loaded now. I don't know how they're going to do these rotations. I mean, Jerron Reed, Jermont Jones,
Leonard Williams
now.
And then coming off the edge, you've got Mafe, Darrell Taylor, Frank Clark,
Derek Hall.
I mean,
Mario Edwards gets some snaps.
Yeah, this team is filthy.
Did you mention Frank Clark again?
Yeah, Frank Clark. And then behind him, you've got Jordan Brooks.
Who's really good.
95% of snaps, 23.4 points this week. He's averaging 16.53 the last 5 games. He had 10 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and 2 QB hits. I mean, tip of the cap. I was not more wrong on someone than Jordan Brooks this season, but the man defied modern medicine and has just been an absolute menace. So tip of the cap to Jordan Brooks. And then Reek Woolen, 19.5 points, 97% of snaps. Just an embarrassment because you have Reek Woolen opposite with him Spoon, who's been awesome as well. I mean, if Geno can keep the train on the tracks with the offense.
The safety room's really good too.
Yeah,
I mean,
you got
Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, Julian Love.
I joked at some point earlier this season about Jamal Adams coming back and taking a football to the helmet, I didn't think we'd get it this quickly into his return.
Did it happen?
Did you see my man? He didn't. Last time we had the famous shot of him, the interception coming in and him taking it to the faceplate because he couldn't get his hands up fast enough. This time he jumped like a soccer player and headbutted the football.
But didn't they pick it off?
They picked it off.
So it was like a good move, actually.
It was a good move. It was just the most Jamal Adams thing ever to be like, instead of intercepting this, let me headbutt it. It reminds me of...
So he could have intercepted himself too, maybe?
Maybe his hands were maybe the guy had his hands held down as he was jumping up. It reminded me of our friend Adam Billingsley when we would play rec basketball. Adam would never try to rebound the ball. He would just punch it. He would punch the ball into the air. So that was kind of Jamal Adams' approach. He's like, I don't really want to pick this. I'm just going to headbutt it. I think Julian Love was the one who got the pick off of that. So shout out Jamal Adams, just using his head.
Yeah.
In unexpected ways. Let's move to Chiefs Broncos, though. Chiefs side of things, this was a very surprising outcome. No T Swift, no magic for the Chiefs. They fall 24-9 to the Broncos.
Is this on her?
I think we have to say that it is. But Chiefs, with the Willie Gay injury, Leo Chenal will leap up the LB ranks like it's a double-decker bus. Very nice, Arn. And we'll talk about the linebacker situation here in just a second, but got to give some love to George Karlaftis. 33.7 points in week 8, 7 tackles, a TFL, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 3 QB hits, 73% of snaps. Furious George has been very solid this year. And I think going forward, he will continue to be a really solid edge 2 option for you. Drew Tranquil delivered in spades, 99% of snaps, 25.75 points, 11 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a forced fumble, a QB hit. I hope that if he was out there on waivers, you blew your priority to go get this guy. If you had him earlier in the season, I hope you didn't drop him because we knew he was the most valuable linebacker handcuff in all of football this year. But now, with Willie Gay going out, it looks like it's going to be the Leo Chenal and Drew Tranquil show. 24.4 points for Leo Chenal, 69% of snaps, 10 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, 1 QB hit. I mean,
it's a big deal.
It's a very big deal. As much as we hated how muddy this room was, it clarified in a big way after this week.
Yes, and both of these guys, Leo Chenal and Drew Tranquil, both of them produce in a way that we love for IDP, right? They both are guys that soak up tackles, and both of them can get in the backfield and get, TFLs, the sacks, all that stuff. I mean, we see them have 20-point games on the reg, right? So, this is good stuff. Also want to give some love to just some of the other guys there on that Kansas City line, but Mike Dana's been pretty good this year.
Yes, he has.
He's averaging 12.6 points per game, 8.8% pressure rate, so that's nothing special, but I mean, playing 77% of the snaps right now. So, I mean, you can do worse if the matchup's right. I think you can plug him in. Also, Charles Omenihu has come back. He has played.
He had a sack, too.
Yeah. In the last, he's got 1.5 on the season, so he got a half a sack one of these weeks.
Yeah.
But 19.1 in week 7 and then 10.1 this past week. His pressure rate also has been good to start, 13.2%. But, yeah, and he's getting 53% of the snaps. So someone else that I think you could maybe plug in, FAU has been a disappointment.
Yeah.
His snaps continue to decline.
Not much from FAU his rookie year.
Yeah. But, yeah, Karlaftis has been really, really good. 16.2% pressure rate. That's 17th best among the top 100 IDP scorers. So,
yeah, I mean, to get the amount of run he did as a rookie on a Super Bowl winning team, I mean, it just always made sense to me that we should be a little more in on this guy than it felt like the consensus was. So if you've got Furious George, I feel like you're pretty happy because you've got a very stable edge 2 option. But if you stash this guy on your bench from the Denver Broncos, I think you could be looking at potential edge 2, maybe even an edge 1 option for you moving forward. As this Broncos edge rushing rotation continues to sort itself out, Baron Browning continues to be the one to impress. 33.1 points in week 8, 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 3 QB hits on 59% of snaps. Addie, let's talk about Baron Browning. Have you liked what you've seen so far from Mr. Browning in his return?
Yes, definitely. 21.3% pressure rate these first 2 games. Those are amazing numbers. We saw him do this a lot last year too. I think not a lot, but when he got his opportunity,
We saw flashes.
I think we saw like multiple 30-point games last year. So, and actually, I was thinking. Remember when we had the Bradley Chubb trade last year? We did a little video about it.
Yeah, we did.
Talking about why they did that. Well, because they had guys like Baron Browning and Nick Bonito, and well, what do you look? Look at what's going on now. Bonito and Browning are kind of the guys that are leading this defensive line. Also, Zach Allen has been really, really good.
Yes, he has.
We got to give him some love. But yeah, I mean, I think both these guys are good starts for you, in Browning and Bonito. Like you said, kind of edge 2 guys, but both of them have shown that they have really high ceilings too.
Yeah.
Bonito, I think, had 9 pressures this last week, so he's continuing to get it done from that standpoint. 15.3% pressure rate for Bonito on the year. Jonathan Cooper's also been solid.
Yep, sprinkle him in as well.
11.6% for Jonathan Cooper.
I mean, they got the bums out of there in Randy Gregory and Frank Clark and got the young guys going.
Yeah, probably the guys that were kind of bad attitudes, previously, at one point were good.
Yep, not anymore.
Yep.
So, and you look at, this is a defense that we were dogging on just a few weeks ago, and now you just held one of the hottest teams in football to 9 points. That's a very impressive outcome for the Denver Broncos.
Mahomes was sick, right? He had the flu or whatever.
Yeah. But
that Kansas City team is not they're not there yet. Maybe they'll get there. But
it'll just be Travis Kelce and there's Jerick McKinnon and Rashee Rice. It's like they have 2 mega superstars, and then the rest is just like D-list cast members.
Yeah.
But just because of the sheer star power of their 2 main guys, and they have a great director behind the scenes, this movie is going to be watchable. I don't know.
You got
it doesn't make sense.
You think that they're going to be in the Super Bowl again this year?
I don't think so. Getting back to the Super Bowl is very hard. I think there's a lot of good teams in the AFC. The Bills, had a nice victory on Thursday Night Football. I think they're in the mix. Bengals heating up a little bit. You've got the Ravens and Dolphins looking really good as well. So they're in the mix, absolutely. But the AFC's got some serious contenders this year. I mean, I've said it before. The Ravens would be a lot of fun. I think the Dolphins in the Super Bowl would be a blast. If you got them against the Eagles or the 49ers, that would be a really fun game. Just a different kind of styles kind of game.
49ers. Interesting now.
I know. A little bit of a slump. Little bit of a slump.
Well, Brock Purdy not looking so hot, not looking so purdy.
Not looking so purdy
Damn,
no
I had
more.
that right there.
You did. You was sitting right there and you blew it. Tell me, who is this Jaquan McMillan character, though, from the Denver Broncos? Do we have any idea of this? He played 95% of snaps, 23.5 points in Week 8, 6 tackles, 2 TFLs, a pick, a PD, and 5 return yards.
I'm guessing this is probably like Kareem Jackson replacement, maybe?
Oh, there you go. Maybe.
I'm guessing.
That suspension got knocked down to 2 games on appeal.
I saw that.
So, Justin Simmons, though, 19.5 points in Week 8, 2 tackles, a pick, a fumble recovery, a PD on 100% of snaps. Let's move to Bengals 49ers. We just talked about these 2 teams. Starting with the Bengals, who got the 31-17 win over the Niners. Mom's meatloaf is back on the menu, baby, and it's delicious as ever. You talked about it earlier, 28.35 points for Logan Wilson. 11 tackles, a pick, 2 PDs on 100% of snaps, averaging 16.3 points. The last 5 games, Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson round out the podium. 19.1 points for Hubbard, 6 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and 2 QB hits. And then Trey Hendrickson, 17.45 points, a tackle, a sack, a forced fumble, and 3 QB hits. 66% of snaps for Hendrickson, 83% for Hubbard. The Bengals, those are the 3 guys I would expect to see 1, 2, 3, and there they were, Eddie.
Yeah, Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, both red hot right now. Over the last 4 games, Hendrickson is averaging 24.5. Hubbard is averaging 17.3. Pressure rate for Hendrickson is been amazing, 18.5% pressure rate for Hendrickson. That's the best of his career. Hubbard's at 11.2%. Hubbard's still doing his thing with the tackles, 5.3 tackles per game. That's among tops at edge. Just a really good duo right here. B.J. Hill's very solid this year for defensive tackle required leagues.
Dax Hill's great for DB.
Yep.
Yeah.
10.1 points per game for B.J. Hill. Miles Murphy, we're still not really seeing much of him yet. 7.7% pressure rate. But he's only gotten in on 75 total snaps this year, so they don't really need him. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he gets some run towards the end of the year, but I don't know. I mean, they haven't played him yet. Trey Hendrickson actually is playing a lot more snaps than he used to. That was a guy that was usually like in the 50 to 60 range. He's at 68% this year. So good stuff. Good stuff for the Bengals.
I was looking to see Logan Wilson, LB 13 on the season right now.
He's been really good.
So just outside the top 12, sandwiched in between C.J. Mosley and Levante David.
Wow.
So great season for Logan Wilson.
And he's had like a lot of big plays, like interceptions and stuff too. But that's what he's always done.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
an
one of
INT
those,
in this game.
It's one of those things. It's like you think that you can just kind of chalk it up to he got lucky, it's fluky. But Logan Wilson, look at his career stats. I mean, the guy has, I bet, over 10 career interceptions at this point.
He's a good NFL linebacker.
Yep.
These guys tend to make plays. You look at who is, who's the textbook definition of good NFL linebacker. It's Fred Warner. Guess who's sitting at LB3 on the season right now? It's Fred Warner, baby. So, speaking of the 49ers, if you took Bosa with the top 6 pick, how you feeling? Edge 19 currently, 8.65 points in week 8. He has been averaging 15.64 the last 5 games. He had 2 tackles, half a sack, and 2 QB hits on 100% of snaps. How you feeling about Nick Bosa, Addy?
I feel fine. I mean, it's not, what we want, but it's still pretty good. I mean, 12.7 points per game. I mean, that's fine. It'll go up. He's at 15.8% on the pressure rate. That's how these guys go, especially like players like Nick Bosa. Like he's gonna pop off for like 3 or 4 in a game. That's coming.
Do you have the point log?
Yes.
For Nick Bosa, I would be curious, how many single-digit outputs does he have this year?
Just 2.
Just 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel better.
4 points in week 1, 11 in week 2, 16 in week 3, 12.25 in week 4, 17.8 week 5, 20.8 week 6, 11.25 in week 7, and then this past week 8.6.
So that's what's weird, I think, is that I was like, is he coasting off of a couple big performances? No, he's just kind of scoring consistently between like 12 and 20 points.
Yeah.
So
he's playing fine. He's just not getting home on the sacks. So I mean, those will come.
Yeah.
I think Bosa, y'all.
Yeah, I'm not. You're not sitting this guy down. It's like you just kind of have to grin and bear it, because the moment you set him down, he will go for 5 sacks on your bench. That's just how these things go.
Yeah.
The leading scorers for the 49ers: Eric Armstead, 25.4 points; Isaiah Oliver, 24 points. And then Fred Warner. What else needs to be said? 18.5 points in week 8, 10 tackles, a TFL, a forced fumble, and a QB hit.
Fred Warner's been so good this year, though, man.
Yeah, LB4, y'all. Let's move to the next game, though. Ravens, Cardinals. Ravens get the 31-24 victory over the Cards, who just benched Joshua Dobbs. Sorry, Dobbs. And look who's at the top.
I thought he was way better than I thought he would be.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be like, terrible, like not being able to move the ball.
And he's been fine.
Yeah.
It was funny. Gannon said, "Oh yeah, he'll be the starter next week. Kyler's probably still a week away." Gannon watched the film and then said, "Oh yeah, it's Clayton Tune or it's Kyler Murray. Dobbs is totally out of the picture." So, sorry.
Was Tune not available until this week? Was he hurt or something?
No, I think he's just been the backup.
Okay. Have we seen Tune at all this year?
I think so. Maybe
remember.
one game. Who cares though? That team's now projected to be the number 1 overall pick. So that would be very interesting with Kyler Murray coming back. Where does Justin Madubuike sit in the Dynasty DT ranks? He is currently D-tackle 1 on the season. Another great week, 18.25 points, 16.37 points per game, average the last 5 games. He had 3 tackles, a TFL, a sack, 3 QB hits, 58% of snaps. Where do you have him, Addy? Is he?
I have him as DT 15 at the moment.
Okay, that feels pretty good. D tackle, we've talked about it, is in a really good spot from a dynasty perspective. A lot of young studs at D tackle.
I've got him sandwiched between Kalijah Cansey and Derek Brown.
Okay, I think maybe he deserves to be raising up the ranks a little bit then.
Probably so,
Because
so he already has been though. I mean, he's definitely been rising more than any other defensive tackle.
And we will remind you, folks. Do you remember who called out Justin Madubuike? I want to say 2 or 3 years ago at this point on this very pod, on the IDP Breakouts episode. It was Nate Tice. So just a little bit delayed, but the Madubuike call has finally cashed in for Nate Tice. We need to have him back on the show and congratulate him on this amazing call.
Yeah, we really should. That was a nice call. But I mean, defensive tackle is good.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
it's not a knock to be top 15.
Yeah, Derek Brown, Madubuike, Kalijah Cansey, Javon Hargrave.
Yep.
DeForest Buckner, Deron Payne. He can probably bump him down a little bit, honestly. Jonathan Allen, Christian Wilkins, Dexter Lawrence, Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, Ed Oliver. So I mean, you see, there's some good ones.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Simmons, Jalen Carter, Quinn Williams. That's it.
So for him to be top 15, I think is pretty appropriate.
That's impressive.
But what a season he's having.
He's been great.
Yeah. We should mention the top scorers from this game. Michael Pierce, the other defensive tackle, 25.95 points. Really been a nothing burger for you, though, the last 5 weeks, just 2.5 points per game, 60% of snaps. Kyle Hamilton was number 2, 19 points in week 8, 17.47 points per game. Average the last 5 games, 10 tackles, a TFL, and a PD on 100% of snaps. He is safety 3 on the season right now. Brandon Stevens, 18.65 points, 12.84 points per game average the last 5 games, 7 tackles, a pick, a PD on 100% of snaps.
Geno Stone with another interception.
I know, he's leading, I think, the league in interceptions right now.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. He gets one almost every single game.
Geno Stone, man. Not got them stone hands, that's for sure.
That's right. I love that, Josh.
Thank you. When is Marcus Williams due back, though?
I don't know. I was thinking of that today, too. He gets banged up quite a bit. They gave him a lot of money.
He's a hurt boy.
Remember that contract he got?
It was a big old contract.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're like, but we got Geno Stone coming in and literally catching picking off a pass every single game.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's all fine. I like this Ravens team, though. I think they're going to make some
They're really
noise.
good.
Yep. So the Cardinals feel a bit like the Falcons light. There are a few guys you can start, but no one that really excites you. Kaiser White might slightly raise your blood pressure. That's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
He's been great this season, but you look at these top scorers and it's like Dante Stills, Antonio Hamilton, Jalen Thompson.
Not
Much happening there.
Buda Baker is going to be fine. He's back in the mix now. This was his first game back, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah. So he'll be fine going forward. And then Jalen Thompson's going to be fine. Zaven Collins has been okay from a PFF standpoint. I mean, grade wise. I don't think he's really tearing it up as far as like pressure rate and stuff.
I think he had a 0% win rate in true pass sets earlier this season. I think Jake and Kyle were saying it got up to 9%. So they, 9's better than 0.
That stat is very hot right now. Everyone's loving that stat.
That stat is having a moment. Let that stat have its moment. And
Really
don't try to rain on the parade of that
is.
stat.
I'm starting to get a little agitated with it. I'm just kidding.
It's Addy's the stat hipster. He wants all the stats to himself.
right.
And if you start talking about it too much, he's going to get upset.
I don't like it. 9.5% for Zaven Collins. That's his pressure rate this year. 19.8% for our boy Victor D. Josh.
Hey, Victor D. Don't.
I mean, he has seen his snaps increase a little bit. They did release what's his face?
Myjai Sanders.
Cam Thomas is seeing his snaps go down a little bit. Oh, BJ Ojulari got his first sack of the season.
No, is he back on the radar?
He might be. 11.9% pressure rate. So I mean, he's only played 130 snaps this season, but the opportunity should be there for him. So
you got Victor D and BJ coming off the edge.
That's right. Wow.
This
a dirty little team.
That gets me really hot in the pants.
Sure.
That would not be a boring IDP squad if you've got those two guys rushing the passer.
That is hot, man. Dang. Can we pause?
Absolutely. We'll be right back after this brief interlude. No, we're going to finish up the recap here. We got 2 games left. Bears, Chargers, the Sunday night game. Didn't watch a second of this game because why would you? I guess if you're like, oh, there's nothing else on, you would watch it. And you'd watch it if you had maybe some IDP prop bets going.
Sure did.
Tremaine
Edmonds?
Yeah, Tremaine Edmonds survived a season-ending injury. Mm-hmm. He did not have a really, awful ACL tear or something bad. He's not going on IR. TJ Edwards thrives in his special agent Sanborn time, though, Addy, with Tremaine Edmonds. I think even though he avoided IR, I think he's going to be out for a little bit. So it sounds like we're getting Leo Chenal. Drew Tranquil is back in the mix. Jack Sanborn.
Yeah, if Sanborn can give us 80% of the snaps.
Boy, that's
20 tackles right there.
Wheels up, baby. Blow that waiver priority again. Are you prioritizing? This is a serious question. Are you prioritizing Leo Chenal or Jack Sanborn?
How long is Willie Gay's injury? Is he on IR or just like?
I haven't seen any kind of IR update for Willie Gay.
I guess that kind of depends. We'll have a day to kind of hopefully get a little more clarity. But I mean, if either one of those injuries are more serious, Willie Gay versus who was the other one?
Tremaine Edmonds.
Yes, Tremaine Edmonds. Yeah, then go with the guy who has
the longer shelf life potentially.
Sure,
there you go.
But yeah, I mean, I love Jack Sanborn. I mean, he was awesome last year.
You do love these lunch pail whites that just come in and give you 10 to 15 points and log out.
You're kind of seeing I think it'd be similar production that you're seeing from TJ Edwards, just a guy that can get 15 tackles easily. But I mean, you're seeing Jack Sanborn do that now, just on the limited snaps.
Yeah,
right?
he had 8 tackles on 46% of snaps.
Yeah, let me actually look at his tackle rate right now.
Yeah, I'll go through the top 3 while you're pulling it up. TJ Edwards is number 1, 27.25 points, 13 tackles, 2 TFLs, a fumble recovery, 2 QB hits, 93% of snaps. Justin Jones, number 2, Tyreek Stevenson. They brought Tyreek Stevenson up on the preview podcast, Jake and Kyle did, I think because he was targeted 15 times in week 7. So Tyreek Stevenson, 12 tackles, 14 points on 99% of snaps. So in CB required leagues, go pick up Tyreek Stevenson because this guy is getting peppered with targets right now. All right, Eddie, what you got?
17% tackle rate for Jack Sanborn.
Sheesh.
That is 12th best among linebackers. So yeah, I mean, that's what's going to happen when they put him in there. He's just going to eat up some tackles.
That's right. I think I'm probably putting the priority on Sanborn because we've seen it in a larger sample size than Leo Chenal, and it sounds like the Tremaine Edmonds injury, if we're talking potential season-ending IR, sounds like it's going to be a little more serious.
2 to 3 weeks at least.
Okay,
you would think.
I would think so.
I'm just guessing. But yeah, I think so too. I mean, Sanborn just has elite upside.
Mm-hmm. We've seen it.
I guess Chenal does as well, though. I mean, with it being kind of clear and open there, both of them are great ads. You should add both of them if you can.
Add both those guys.
Yes.
Chargers, let's wrap up the Sunday night recap. Chargers big names lead the way in scoring, probably to the relief of most IDP managers. The top 3, we love to see it. Joey Bosa, 17 points on 59% of snaps. Derwin James, 16.35 points on 82% of snaps. And Eric Kendricks, 16 points, 79% of snaps. Status quo in Los Angeles, and thank God for that. Enough of this Kenneth Murray, Alohi Gilman that gave way to whoever the Alohi Gilman replacement was. There,
Dean Marlowe, but Gilman's back. Gilman's back now.
There we go. All is right with the world.
Yeah. Kenneth Murray, I think, was productive again. He was solid.
He's the LB1 still. I mean, I have to look at the snaps, but 79% for Kendricks makes me think that Kenneth Murray was still the leading snap getter.
I'd say so. But yeah, it's been nice seeing Eric Kendricks be relevant the last few weeks.
I think Staley might have saved his job. I think if you lose to the Bears on Sunday Night Football, your ass may have been getting fired the next day. So we'll see if he survives the season, but this was a nice win, a much-needed win for the Chargers.
Was it that nice, though? It was against your backup. No chest tat, Tiny Nips.
I mean, Tiny Nips was getting a lot of shine, though. I mean, you had Collinsworth talking about Justin Fields is going to have to watch Tyson Bagent's tape, and it's like, are we sure about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
To watch it to what? Like, learn what not to do?
What'd you think of Justin Fields looking like Mr. Cool Guy on the sideline?
I didn't watch a minute of this game. You'll have to tell me what he was doing.
He just wearing sunglasses and looking like he was too cool for school.
That's such an old man thing to say, by the way.
I didn't like it.
Why are you wearing sunglasses indoors?
Yeah, I didn't
You're too
like
cool
it.
for school?
I didn't like it one bit.
Didn't like it one bit. Well, I did like having Joey Bosa back in the sack column, 17 points. Derwin James, 5 tackles, a pick, a PD. Eric Kendricks, 10 tackles, a PD.
Thule has kind of cooled off a little bit, but he's still pretty good from a PFF standpoint. Pressure rate and all that stuff is good. Grades are good. So he's still a really nice dynasty asset for you, I think.
All right, well, let's move to Monday Night Football. And we've got the Lions and Raiders. Let's just pull up their top scorers here on Sleeper and see what we got. Freaking Alex Anzalone, the leading scorer from this game. Really the only guy worth talking about here. He had 2 sacks and 7 tackles and went for 32.25 points.
Wow.
He's been really solid this year, y'all. As much as we love to clown on this guy, he has just 3 games with single-digit outputs. The rest of the games have been over 13 points. So Anzalone has had a nice little season. Again, long hair, flowing in the breeze. He does have that going for him. The next highest score after that was Julian Aquara with 13 points. So we don't need to talk any more about this game. We can look and see where well, did I just get the Lions? Maybe I just got the Lions. Hold on. No, the Raiders are in there as well. Where is Max Crosby? Max Crosby is not even showing up, though.
Let's see here, Josh.
Is the help me out here, Addy. Is the sleeper scoring messed up?
Get over here for you. Let me save the day for you.
Please do.
Brother.
I tried to refresh the page to get the top scores in
All
there,
right.
but
So week 8, we got Anzalone with 32.3, Aleem McNeil with 29.9. He had 4 tackles and 2 sacks. He's actually been pretty solid this year too. Week 3 he had a 16-point game, and then week 4 he had an 18-point game. So this is
there we go. Okay.
This is his 4th sack on the season for Aleem McNeil. Kirby Joseph, another solid game, 18 points this week. He had 2 tackles and an interception. Tracy Walker, nice to see old Tracy back in our lives. 16.8 points this week. He had 6 tackles and a sack. Julian Aquara had 13 points.
I just had the linebackers pulled up. That's what it was.
Look at you. 2 tackles and a sack.
Rookie.
Derek Barnes still somehow getting some run. 6 points this week, 2 tackles.
Marcus Peters had 28.75 points.
He had a pick 6.
Did have a pick 6, 5 tackles.
Brian Branch, kind of a down game, 6 tackles, 6 points. Aiden Hutchinson, a down game, 5.25 points and a tackle on a TFL. So Jack Campbell, 5 points, 4 tackles.
Max Crosby, 20.5 points, 8 tackles, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. God, he's been so good this year. His lowest output is 8.25 points.
Nate Hobbs, nice to see Nate Hobbs back.
Yes, he was.
6 tackles and a sack. This was Nate Hobbs' first game back since week 3. So good to see that. Spillane was solid again. We know that he got me the 8 tackles that I longed for.
That's right. The 8 tackles that you longed for.
11 points today.
11 points. And then I wanted to see Masterson since he was the Divine Diablo fill-in. Looks like he had 4 tackles and a forced fumble for 8.5 points.
And he left early. I think he left in the second quarter.
Okay.
So
that was some nice production then. If
That's
he
a
only
bummer.
had less than a half.
yeah, he caused the fumble that Spillane scooped up. Trevon Moehrig has actually been pretty good this year. This has been the first year he's actually been relevant for IDP at all. But I mean, look at the log; it's been surprisingly good. Start with week 1, 7 points, 9.75 week 2, 4.5 week 3, 23.1 week 4, 12.25 in week 5, 16.25 in week 6, 7.75 in week 7, and 11 points this past week. So I saw where the usage has changed a little bit for him too. He's playing a lot more slot and box, whereas first part of his career, like his first 2 or 3 years, he was just deep.
Deep safety, yep.
So
we've seen a lot of that this year with, Julian Blackmon comes to mind immediately. It's like a formerly deep safety who's playing primarily box now.
Yeah, just you got to remember not to pigeonhole these guys into certain roles. Like that stuff can change.
Yep.
With coaches and new teams and all that stuff. So
yeah, speaking of changing usage, Jack Campbell played half of his snaps on the defensive line last week against the Baltimore Ravens. We had a YouTube short about that. That was kind of a curious alignment sort of nugget from last week, and but he played 67% of snaps. The Lions, as a team, just only played 46 snaps. That's very low in terms of defensive snap count. Las Vegas sucks at maintaining drives. That's probably part of it. But Campbell played just 13%, 4 of his snaps along the defensive line this week, and still retained the LB2 role. So I think the Lions have their bye coming up here soon. So I think coming out of the bye, that was Jake Colhagen's kind of prediction, was that coming out of the bye, we would see him firmly entrenched as like the LB2 there. So seems like it's going to happen. What that role looks like in terms of snap count, if he gets 75% of the snaps each week, that'd be pretty nice.
Yeah.
So be better than Derek Barnes or any of these other trash bags getting that LB2 role.
Yeah. Still haven't seen the production like we really want to with Campbell, even though he has. I mean, because he's not been getting 3 snaps a week. He's getting, at least 50% of the snaps. He just still hasn't really been stuffing that sheet the way we want him to. So
I mean, he's got the freaking long-haired wonder.
That's
Warren
right.
Thor, Alex Anzalone there beside him. It's kind of like Kingleton and Josie Jewell. Like the shine is off of Jewell a little bit. Oh wow, look at me! Great job. Midnight pull right there, folks. When you've got Kingleton with like his 25% tackle rate, just mopping up out there.
Yeah.
So there you go, folks. That was every game from Week 8. All 32 freaking teams back in action because we had no buys this week. And we ran through all the games, all the relevant storylines, the top scores. Let us know if you enjoyed this format. We did kind of a hybrid storyline top scorer approach. I like this, Eddie. This felt like a good way to make sure that we didn't miss any guys who went for big point totals there going strictly storylines.
I don't care what we do, Josh. I love just being here with you, baby.
We love just talking ball, chopping it up, having some fun.
Yeah, talking shop.
Talking shop. Hey, we should just stick a microphone in front of our face and record this, right? That's right. Well, we will see you all later this week. Jake is going to be back with Joey the Tooth. So we have another Football Guys feature on the preview pod. They will be breaking down the Week 9 preview, and then we will be back next week to recap it all for you. Remember, theidpshow.com, we have the free preview week, so all of our premium content will be out from behind the paywall. Make sure you're subscribed over there, and if you like what you see, this rankings and the waivers and the Q&A thread, consider becoming a paid supporter. It really helps us out. Leave us a 5-star rating and review over on Apple Podcasts and 5 stars on Spotify. Very easy, free way to support the show as well. And then follow us on YouTube, youtube.com/@theidpshow. We are, 65 subs away from 1,000 and being able to monetize that YouTube channel.
Yes.
So come over and support us. Just throw us a follow there on YouTube would be the best way you could help the show right now.
Yep. All the data should be in there tonight. I have pretty much everything done. Just need to do a few things. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that free preview. It's a good week to get it.
That's right. So data is on the website. Dynasty rankings on the website now. You have all the information you need to go out and dominate. And you know where to find us if you need any help. But Addy, this was a fun one. Let's do it again next week. What do you say?
Sounds good. Sounds like a date.
All right. Well, y'all enjoy Halloween. Spooky season is here. We've got, I think we're going to be doing some trick-or-treating.
Yes, sir.
I guess technically today with the kids since it is now Tuesday.
Yeah. What's PAX going to go as?
So we do the family costume every year, and this year with the Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
So we got to test it out Sunday. We had a little fall fest at church, and that was a lot of fun. So PAX was Raphael. I'm Donatello. Allie's Leonardo, and McLean just got whatever was left over. So she was a very, very cute Michelangelo. But
okay, nice.
we got the weapons and, Pax, I mean, he's he's in his element, man. He's got the Raphael, like the size. He's got his trick or treat bag. You know, I mean, we go all out with the family costumes. So this year, Ninja Turtles.
I love it. Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are back in.
They're having a comeback.
I saw because I frequent the toy aisles at when we go out and stuff, and
of course,
there's tons of them now.
Oh yeah,
I used to have a ton of those.
Yeah, since they had the new movie come out.
Okay,
I think back in August, it's having a resurgence.
It's funny. It's just all the same stuff.
It's all recycles.
It's all Jurassic Park,
Power Rangers
Turtles,
are back.
G.I. Joes. I see those out there still.
Yep.
So, no one has any original ideas.
That's like we said, we went to get some stuff from the Halloween, the Spirit Halloween, and it's like they don't really have to feel pressured to sell all these costumes because they'll probably just roll the same ones back out. Maybe reshuffle like who gets the front placement when you come in, but yeah, it's a lot of like the same stuff we've been seeing for the past few years.
Although, have you noticed, and maybe this is just me, but all the Halloween decorations have gotten like way scarier.
Way too scary.
Way too scary.
The one that was making the rounds on Twitter was the house that looked like it was on fire.
I saw that, yeah.
That's like, what are we doing here? Like, that's just cruel to your neighbors.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. But there's also like just the statues out front now. Like,
yes.
There's one like in my neighborhood where it's like these two, I don't know, freak people pulling apart this little girl.
Oh God, really?
It's weird. Like one's got one arm, the other one's got the other arm, and like she's like squall. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
But, we're getting darker as a society.
I know. I think a lot of like sort of buried rage and dread is coming out in these Halloween decorations.
It's kind of odd. Just something I noticed.
Just chill out a little bit, folks. Okay.
Everyone, I hope you're doing okay. All right. Just we hope you're okay.
The extent of the wacky Halloween decorations need to just be like the 13-foot tall skeleton. That needs to be the extent of which we.
Those are a thing now.
Yeah.
But yeah,
huge.
They're just getting like worse and more gruesome and like.
We don't have to do this, folks.
It's like there's still kids out there.
It's kids that are trick or treating, folks. It's not adults. Yeah, just chill out a little bit. But yeah, we'll probably see you over in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
For some trick or treating. I think it's gonna be like 40 degrees, so it may be very quick.
So yeah,
hit it like a dozen houses and then call it a night.
Sounds good.
Then go home and sleep. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this and enjoy the football. Y'all take care. And we'll see you soon.
It's the IDP show. Now you